Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the RF Sports Radio Show, live by video stream by the magic of Ustream. I want to welcome everyone to our program and also apologize to everyone for what happened last time. All right, let's say it's my fault. I'll take the blame for that one. So without further ado, we'll get started with our show. Those that are not familiar with us, we are a radio show. We're trying to do something different with the live video stream, thanks to Ustream. You guys can watch this live on our website on rfsportsradio.com. So without further ado, my name is Rodney Fisher.
And I'm Royce Fisher.
And we're going to talk about some sports, of course, for you guys. This is sports talk from a fan's perspective. And since we usually watch sports from in this room, from this perspective, we thought this is truly our fan perspective, right?
And until our studio's ready, it's going to be temporary.
Absolutely.
I can deal with it.
So, of course, you guys, when you get your questions in during the live show, all you got to do is go to our Twitter account, send us a tweet at RF Sports Radio. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/RF Sports Radio. So, jump into one of the biggest stories that's going on right now this week so far in sports. It has to be the San Antonio Spurs, a team that we get to see a lot since we covered the Mavericks come to town, and a coach that we respect a lot, Greg Popovich. His decision to sit down four key players in this team, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, also Danny Green, and Tony Parker. Sit them out for the Miami Heat game because they had so many road games. They played 4 games out of 5 nights. Sent them back home on a Southwest flight from Miami back to San Antonio, leaving the fans, leaving everyone in TNT without having that premier matchup of the Spurs and the Heat. And David Stern coming out yesterday saying they may face sanctions. So first of all, Royce, let me get your initial thoughts on what happened here.
Well, right at first, I was kind of mad because I tuned in to watch a great basketball game between Miami and San Antonio. No Tim Duncan, no Ginobili, no Parker. I was kind of disappointed. I was peeved at first because, they sell these tickets in packages. So if you bought a package to see Miami, New York, and LA play, and the stars didn't show up. That's the reason why you do buy a ticket. But after the game got underway, it was very competitive. I thought he put a decent team on the floor, but you didn't see the star. I kind of have mixed emotions about it. If I had bought a ticket anticipating seeing a matchup between Tim Duncan and LeBron James, I'd have been pretty mad about that. But the only problem I have is, and Popovich does sit these guys down late in the season. They are older, but that's late in the season. We're not even at the halfway point. I have a problem with that. And I know they played in the building, dressed, but
even though they weren't going to play.
Even though they weren't going to play, at least the fans would have had a chance to see him. You could have got an autograph if you were a fan. But them not being there, that's what I have a problem with.
Well, I think it may have been even worse to have them in the building but not play, because then the fans are going to look like, okay, well, they're here, they're dressed, why they're not playing. I think that would have been a bigger issue having them there. But with that said, my opinion is I have no problem whatsoever with what Greg Popovich did, because he's looking after the real fans of his basketball team, the home fans. The Spurs fans, the guys in San Antonio.
What about the basketball fans, period? You just don't play in your hometown. You just don't play in front of your hometown crowd. Okay, say for instance you're a 13, 14-year-old boy, first time going to an NBA game.
Right.
You had a chance to go see Miami and San Antonio play, and it's a big disappointment.
Yeah, but let's be honest. So this is not the NBA of the 80s or the 70s when it was a tape delay type of thing. I mean, you can see Tim Duncan play basketball if you're a basketball fan. Right. The other thing is, Greg Popovich's job is to win championship games. It's not to, help the NBA, with their TV rights deal to sell tickets in Miami. His job is to win the NBA championship. So if he feels like resting his players who are older, I mean, these are veteran guys, resting these players so they can be at full strength when they play Memphis, a team that's in their division, and they're in the division battle right now, then I see no problem with it. I think Greg made a good call, and I think that if David Stern takes it one step further and does put sanctions on the Spurs, then the Spurs have a real good grounds for a lawsuit because there's no way you can do that. This is Stern's real dilemma. I mean, he made this league into a superstar league. He wanted to have stars in all these different places and really promote the
And he
stars.
got what he wanted.
So now you got what you want. You got to live with the fact that coaches are gonna manage their teams the best way they can.
That's why I say I have mixed emotions about it. I really, the basketball sense of me saying there's no problem with
Mm-hmm.
that. I can understand that. He does that on occasion. Usually it's at the end of the season. He let these guys, they're going into the playoffs. But with the hectic schedule that they had, back to back to back games, I can understand resting the guys and sitting them out. So, I'm interested to see how this comes out. But, I have to look at it on the other side. As a fan,
Mm-hmm.
I would be very disappointed if I went to a Miami San Antonio game and half the top stars wasn't playing. That's the only problem I have with that.
Well,
But he does have the right to sit these guys. That is his team.
mm-hmm.
These guys are older. I mean, they play a lot of games, a lot of back-to-back nights. That's kind of hard to. But they were a competitive team. They lost by 5 points.
Yeah, that's the other
You
point
know.
I wanted to bring up too. Is that even though they didn't have six of their players, of course, the four that Greg Popovich set out, and then Steven Jackson, along with Kawhi Leonard not being able to play already
Right.
injured, they still gave them a good game. I mean,
Yeah.
105 to 100,
Right.
a late three-pointer by Ray Allen gave Miami Heat the win. So the fans still got a competitive game, even
That's
though
true.
these guys weren't in there. So you're saying that the stars are gone, and it is the NBA team. I mean,
Right.
they're still going
You
to be
still
pretty
have a
competitive,
12,
right?
yeah, 13-man roster. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So should they face sanctions? I guess that's the biggest thing. Should the NBA,
Well,
should David Stern really put any kind of sanctions on the franchise?
well, actually, he can't because you're in charge of your team and who you decide to play or sit out. That's the coach's choice, and you really can't. I think he was just kind of pissed off. But just think of the repercussions if San Antonio had won with a bunch of bench
True,
guys
true.
against Miami. That would have been embarrassing for Miami.
hmm
Having said that, are any other coaches going to do this due to the Lakers
Well,
doing
I
this?
think whatever he decides to do, he's going to set the precedent for the league going
Right.
forward. I mean, I don't think he should do anything. I don't think he will. But when he makes a statement, and this is a quote from David Stern, he says, "This is an unacceptable decision by the San Antonio Spurs." He goes on to say, "Substantial sanctions will be forthcoming." When you make a statement like that, you
Right.
have to back it up,
That's
right?
true. But I think his problem was so many guys that you know, one or two I could see, Tim Duncan, maybe Ginobili, those guys, older, injuries. But to sit out four guys, I mean, the actual starting, almost the starting five, you know, I think they had a problem. And it was a shock to people. It was a shock to me because I tuned in to watch a great game. I ended up watching a pretty good game.
hmm
But it just wasn't the same. It
I've
was
got no
just not
problem
the
with it.
same,
I've got no problem with
you
it.
know.
Spurs did a good job. I wish, other teams,
Had a
would
bench
rest
that
their,
good.
yeah, had a bench that
Yeah,
good.
right,
So
right.
let's talk about a little bit more NBA topics. We'll wait for you guys' reaction from that. We do have a couple people chiming in on Twitter about this story, and that's Rajon Rondo being suspended 2 games for his altercation that he had during the Brooklyn Nets game. Also, fines for Gerald Wallace and fines for Kevin Garnett as well. We knew Rondo was going to get suspended,
Oh yeah,
and two
yeah.
games I think was a pretty decent time. I think.
Yeah, and he actually didn't throw a punch. I had a chance to
Right.
see it. He actually pushed him, but
hmm
kind of got out of hand. Uh, could have been a lot worse. And they're trying to cut down on all these brawls and fighting, and I understand that. But two games, good suspension. Some guys got fined. They don't hurt them much in their pocketbook. These guys make so much money. But 2 games suspension, that's pretty harsh.
hmm
But you have to
Yeah,
send
so I
them
think
in.
it was right. I think it was
Yeah,
okay. I don't
it
think
was
it was
right.
too harsh. I
Yeah,
think
he
that's
brought
what
up
they
on
needed.
himself, and you have to cut down on that kind of stuff. Could have got out of hand, could have been worse, like the brawl in Detroit,
hmm
which it didn't. And I thought it was fair. I didn't think he fouled him that bad. After I saw it again, I've seen worse fouls,
Yeah.
you know, and it should have been a fragrant maybe one out of two, but you can't fight in the NBA. They really cracking down on that, and I think that's a
Of
good
course, I
thing.
think the other big issue was the fact that the fight carried over into the crowd.
Right,
Where
right.
they had to move out to
I
the
mean,
crowd. So
the guys on the front row really got the buck in of
so
it.
exactly.
Yeah, because, man, I mean, look like they were on top of those guys. So I can understand that somebody could have been seriously hurt, and you have to send a message.
hmm
Okay.
Well, jumping real quick to a more local story. That's the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, you like this one.
They signed Derek Fisher. A lot of reaction on Facebook about that. Go to our website. You can jump on our Facebook page there, rfsportsradio.com. Devin Steele, a good friend of the show, good friend of mine, was all on Facebook with me yesterday talking about this. Really feeling like, this was a good move. Other people are saying different things. Derek Fisher, 17th season in the NBA, didn't have a deal before the Mavericks picked him up. Played last year with the Oklahoma City Thunder, getting all the way to the Western Conference Championship and then to the finals to lose to the Miami Heat. I'm not a big Derek Fisher fan, but with that said, I don't have anything against Derek Fisher on a personal level. But at the same time, I do not like this move that the Mavericks are making, signing Derek Fisher. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why is because it says a lot to me about the other guards that they currently have. I mean, you've got Roddy Beaubois, who can't stay healthy. Played in the game, the last game that they had against Chicago, didn't do
Right.
that well. Then you had Dominique Jones, who's been getting the start, but again, he's in his fourth year of his deal. Doesn't have a deal with us next year, and they can't seem to even trade this guy. I've been trying to trade him
Right.
for two
Right.
years. Can't trade him. You got Jared Cunningham, the rookie, who doesn't get enough playing time to really step in and fill up his role, although he had limited minutes against
Right.
Chicago and did fairly well in this limited time. Even Coach Carlisle commented on that. And you look around and you got Darren Collison, who's hurt but who's going to come back.
Right.
I think that this is a true sign that both Rick Carlisle and the front office of the Dallas Mavericks are very, very unhappy with the point guard and the guard play that they currently have on the team, which is an even bigger signal that something needs to be done. But Derek Fisher is not that long-term, solid decision. I mean, he's going to come in there. He's not going to play good defense. They need a good defensive player. And I'm just not on board with the move
Okay,
all the
okay,
way.
okay. Let's go back and look at this team. They've tried everything. If you get down to Dominique Jones as your starting guard, you're in pretty bad shape. And
I agree.
let's just think
I
about
agree.
that. Because the guy's been around, he's not a really a proven player, and he's really not that great of a guard. That means you're down to desperation. And we've seen this team juggle the lineup. We've seen Roddy been in. We've seen Collison play, and he's struggling. And they really don't have a true guard. Haven't had Jason Terry, Jason Kidd the last couple of years. You need somebody to distribute the ball. They're just not getting that from these guys. This team is in disarray. I think it's a desperate move. But having said that, they needed somebody to come in to actually run that point guard position because they're
A
not getting
veteran player,
a
yes.
veteran player. And if he can bring to the Dallas Mavericks what he brought to the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, I have no problem with that because
That's a good
he was
point.
essential in them going to the playoffs. And if he plays, if he has anything left in the tank, I'll take it because we're looking at a desperate team. At times this team looked great. At times they look bad. They're inconsistent. You do need a veteran player. Maybe these guys can learn something from him. We know Collison may be there next year, but the problem is they don't have a great point guard to lead this team. We've seen it. You watched the game. You've been at the game.
hmm
They struggle at that position. I mean, it's a desperate team looking for desperate measures. Now, having said that, I thought they could have addressed that in the offseason. We know they went after Deron Williams,
Yeah.
Darren Williams. And that didn't work out. But there were other guys out there you could have pursued,
hmm
to fill that role. I
Well,
think Collison was a reach out pick because your top first two choices wasn't there.
hmm
But they could have went after a lot more guards, better guards that I've seen, younger guards that they could have kept around. They
but
could have
but
filled that
but you
void.
know what though? This begs the question of, and Maverick fans have this question. I hear it on the streets. I get it on Twitter. The question is, if you're gonna bring in a 17-year veteran to play point guard, why didn't you really
Right,
pursue
absolutely.
Jason Kidd?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why did you let Jason Terry walk for $5 million a year? And that's the question that Cuban and everyone's going to have to answer.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, I know
I
what they
agree with
say. I know what they say. They try to put the whole kid thing back on kid,
you. Right.
saying that he had promised to
Right.
come back and they didn't know what happened. But when you're pursuing a player, you roll out the red carpet, you go see him. When you want Darren Williams as the owner of a team, you
should have
show
been
up
there. Right.
to the
Absolutely.
meeting. So
Right.
they've got to
I
explain
agree.
it to the Maverick fans and to us as well. If you want a 17-year veteran, why didn't you keep the guys you had?
Yeah, and they why they didn't pursue or try to keep Jason Terry to me, I don't understand it because you know he was a proven veteran. You knew what you were getting with Jason Terry. You knew what you were getting with Jason Kidd. But to go out and bring this kind of team they had, Mayo has been great. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
He's somebody that should be around for a while. He's like the top 5 scorer in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand the philosophy. You could have kept Jason Terry. You know, it 1 or 2 year deal. Could offer him enough money to stay. He went to Boston. Boston got a great player. I've seen him play this year, and he's Jason Kidd and Jason Terry. But you could have kept one of those guys.
Right.
I thought. You know, and now we have a team out on the floor that I don't know what we're getting. You know, because when you go 8, 9, 10 players deep every night in the rotation, that means you're looking for somebody to step up and play. They're not getting that.
Not getting that from anyone.
Right.
Again, we want you guys' reaction on this story as well too. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at RF Sports Radio. Go to our website, rfsportsradio.com. We'll be at the Mavericks game tomorrow as they take on the Pistons. So tune into our website tomorrow night, starting at about 6 o'clock for our pregame show. We'll have that a live video stream from the game. We'll be coming back to you after the game for post-game wrap-up, where you get to hear from the coaches and also hear from the players as well too.
And Derek Fisher.
And Derek Fisher for that matter. Let's talk about the NFL real quick before we wrap up our show. NFL last night, Thursday Night Football, I guess the best Thursday night game they've had this season, I would imagine, between the rivalry that no one really knows about. That's the Falcons and the Saints. And the Saints really realized that they have no love in Atlanta because they showed up at the airport, got egged by airline employees, Delta employees. So egged their bus when they showed up. So anybody get to the game, and the Saints lose the game 23-13 to the Falcons. The Falcons beat the Saints for the first time, I think, in 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
And they avenged their one loss that they had on their record this season. Now they're 11-1. Another big story to come out of this game is that Drew Brees did not throw a touchdown. 5 interceptions.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Ends his touchdown streak at 54 games. And he in the fourth quarter especially, he looked so out of sync. He threw more than 5 picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
He threw 7 picks. 2 of them came back, but he threw more than 5 picks.
Yeah, and I was blown away by the game last night. Not typical Drew Brees. But we've seen this happen with great quarterbacks. Tony Romo threw 5.
So Tony Romo is the same breath as Drew Brees?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, but say
when it goes bad, it goes bad. You know,
well, the week before, Matt Ryan threw 5.
Right, he threw
and
5.
They won the game. 2 touchdowns.
But you know, you have to kind of pay attention to this Atlanta team. I hadn't really. I thought it was just a fluke. I know you don't want to believe it, but look at their record: 10-1.
11-1.
11-1. In this day and age, no other team is 11-1. Besides them, that has to say something about this team. You can call it luck, you can call it mystique, you can call it a fluke, but the point of the matter is they are 11-1.
Here's the thing, though.
Like it or not, they beat 11 good teams. I say 5 of them were great, and 6 of them were mediocre. But they're 11-1. From beginning
I still feel like at 11-1, they're not the best team in the NFC. You know, and the reason why, because of the teams they have not played. The 49ers, for instance. The Chicago Bears. The New York Giants. You know, there's some teams out there that they could, I think, are better than the Falcons. And believe it or not, the only reason why the Falcons are not getting any respect, Tony Gonzalez, if you're watching, is because the guys don't win in the playoffs. You could be 11-1, you could be undefeated, you could be 12-0. Everyone's going to have some skepticism about the Falcons because they don't win in the playoffs. Until they do, everyone's still going to have to be critical of whatever they do in the regular season.
And we will see this year. Having said that, they are the most consistent team in the NFL right now. And
Right now,
you
yeah,
have to
right
give
now.
them that. And we're not talking about the playoffs, but as of right now, they're the most consistent, balanced team out there right now, defense and offense. The defense played great last night. 5 interceptions, and like I said, 2 were called back. It
Yeah.
actually was 7. But I thought they played great last night. And we've seen the Ravens win a championship with just an ordinary quarterback. I think Matt Ryan is coming to his own. And with each win being 11-1, you have to have some confidence or some kind of swagger. And I think this team has it now. Whether they win a playoff game, I won't say yet. But to be 11-1, you have to have some kind of swagger or have some kind of confidence in your team and teammates.
I'm still just not buying into
You're
the
not,
whole.
I know you're
I
not.
just can't do it yet until we get there. But the Saints, we talked about them 3 weeks ago as being the hottest team in the
Right,
NFL.
right.
Two straight losses and two good teams, the 49ers and the
And
Falcons.
that's
So,
my point. We had teams that are hot and go cold, hot and cold. We've seen that consistently all year.
right.
But to be 11-1, you have to start paying attention. Because, like I
If you
said,
say
no
so.
other team
If you say
is
so.
11-1 besides the Atlanta Falcons.
Let's talk about some of the other teams and go ahead and give you guys our world famous picks for NFL Week 13. Now, we must caution you up front. Our picks are for recreational purposes
Oh, yes.
only, which
Unless,
means if you lose, you can't sue us.
right.
But if you win, we appreciate a little
Yeah,
cut.
you can break this up a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate a little cut. We didn't win the Powerball,
No, we did.
so we're doing everything we can. All right. And also, too, thanks to everyone that sent us some feedback for our last show, although they couldn't hear the show. But we are looking for coffee cups. All right. So get us out of styrofoam. Get us some coffee cups. Send us your company coffee cup. We will feature it on our show, and a shout out on Twitter as well too.
Yeah, you ain't got yours.
Yeah, I ain't got mine. I'm still got the styrofoam cup. So,
Okay.
all right, let's go to our picks for Week 13. The Jaguars travel to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. Now, you were high on the Bills at the beginning of the season. I know you kind of come down some.
Yeah, I got off that bandwagon.
The Jaguars have been pretty hot as of late. Justin Blackman's starting to play like a big pickup for them. So tell me, Royce, who wins this game, the Jags or the Bills in Buffalo?
Well, I started out picking Buffalo. They were my sleeper team, but I'm no longer on board, so I got to go against them and pick the Jaguars.
On the road, the Jaguars?
I'm sorry, I can't go with Buffalo. There, I lost too much money on them already.
Give me Buffalo to win this game only because it is in Buffalo. All right, I think Jacksonville's not gonna
Well,
be able to travel well up there in Buffalo.
let me change that. The weather is going to be pretty bad. They have a cold front.
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffalo plays better in cold weather. I don't think the Jaguars can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me change that to Buffalo.
Okay, well, he's already changed your picks, ladies and gentlemen. I've done my job here. I've done my job. All right, so next we got the Seahawks taking on the Bears that's in Chicago. Who you picking here?
The Bears.
Yeah,
They've been playing good lately. I have to go with the Bears.
I'm going with the Bears as well, too. I think the Seahawks have a definite advantage at home. But here on the road, I'm going to take the Bears. The Bears are pretty hot.
And it's
And you
a
know
must
what?
win, right, for the Bears.
Well, not for the
Pretty
Bears.
much.
Actually, a must win for the Seahawks. If they want to maintain
Yeah,
a chance to
you're
get
right,
in for
you're
the
right.
wild card. The Bears are at the top of their division. But you know when people start talking about Jay Cutler's possible MVP candidate.
Yeah,
What do you think about
I
that?
heard that. He's not my pick.
I know you don't like Jay
somebody
Cutler.
else.
Well, hey, Jay Cutler's got a legitimate shot. All right, he's done a good job this
If he can
season.
stay healthy.
He's done a good job this season. Go ahead, Jay Cutler. All right, next, the 49ers at the Rams. Of course, the big story about this game is that Kaepernick will be the starter after Harbaugh named him the starter against the Rams game. If you guys remember, the last time they played the Rams, when Al Smith suffered his concussion, and since then has not started for the 49ers. Now, Colin Kaepernick gets to go to St. Louis and see what he can do there.
Well, I'm going with 49ers.
I think we both are going to 49ers, yes. But I want to ask you this, though. Alex Smith came out a little bit and said
Yeah,
he didn't
he's
understand
pissed.
why he
He's
didn't
pissed.
get the starting job. So, but that's football, right?
Yeah, and that's football, but like you said, guys usually get hurt and they don't lose their starting job. I was shocked. I think this is going to come back and bite him because the guy is going to make some rookie mistakes Hopefully, it's not in the playoff game, and I hope he doesn't. But Alex Smith has always been on the chopping block.
Always, yeah.
He's been on
Obviously,
there,
always.
but I didn't know they would just do him like this. I wouldn't expect it.
49er fans, if you're watching, all right, if you want to win the Super Bowl, play Colin Kaepernick. That's all I got to say.
Until he throws 2 or 3 interceptions.
Play Colin Kaepernick. That's
We
what
know
you go with.
our rookies make mistakes.
That's what you go with. And last time these two teams, they played to a tie.
Right.
So it should still be a good game. Okay. All right, the Packers and the Patriots go to Miami to play the Dolphins. I got the Patriots winning this
I
game
got
here.
the Patriots hands down.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are a good team, a young team. They're going to get better.
They're not there yet.
Not there yet, exactly. All right, then the Arizona Cardinals, they travel to the New York to play the Jets. Of course, you know the debacle that the Jets put up on Thanksgiving Day. They're going to try to bounce back here. The Jets season's pretty much over. The Cardinals season is pretty much over. Now you're playing for pride and playing for positions with a team, next year, whatever the case may be. Who wins this game, the Jets or the Cardinals?
A lot of people are gonna be mad at me for picking this. I'm going to Arizona. Arizona has some kind of way of putting a wrench in your game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything coming out of New York unless Tebow plays the game.
Yeah, play Tebow, by the way.
You might as well. I mean, what did you have to lose at this point? And you need to see what you have going forward for next year, because I'm pretty sure Mark Sanchez's job is going to be questioned. Ryan's going to be, tested. I don't know if he'll probably be back next year, but you brought him in there for a reason. You got to see what you got in it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Whether you cut him next year or keep it.
I'm going with the Jets to win the game because I think Tebow will play. All right, so I want the Jets to win the game.
Put a question mark. If Tebow plays, I'm going with the
Nah,
Jets.
you can't.
I did say that. I did say that.
Everyone heard it. America, you heard the man say the
I said unless they play Tebow.
Well, I got you down for the Cardinals. Okay,
I still don't believe in New York. I don't trust them.
All right, the Colts go to Detroit to play the Lions. Of course, we know the good start the Colts have had. They've been riding the wave of Chuck Strong after their coach Chuck Pagano. Playing in Detroit. I got the Colts winning the game.
I got to go with the hometown crowd. I'm going with Detroit.
Okay.
They're starting to play pretty good.
Okay. I'm going to take the Colts to win the game. All right, the Vikings and the Packers. This game is in Green Bay. Green Bay needs a win. Minnesota needs a win. Two big must-win games, especially in their division. Who you got here?
It's hard to win Packers Stadium. I got to go with the Packers.
You going with the Packers? Okay.
Lambeau.
You know what, though? Man, I like the Vikings. I like what they've done. I like the story of Adrian Peterson, what he's done. But the Packers, I think, are going to make it somehow, some way to the playoffs. So I'll take the Packers.
And I think their problem has been injuries. I don't know who's going to play this Sunday, but I'm pretty sure some of those guys that are injured are going to play. It's a must-win for both of them.
Both teams, absolutely.
I put my money on Aaron Rodgers.
It's going to be a good early game to watch. The Texans, the Houston Texans, of course, we know about them being 10-2.
Right.
They're taking on the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Division rivalry game. Give me the Texans to win here.
I'm going with the Texans, too. Tennessee should never got rid of Jeff Fisher.
Well, that's what he
big
feels.
mistake.
All right, the Carolina Panthers coming off a win against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. They'll take on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the game of being Kansas City. I'm looking for Cam Newton to finally put together two back-to-back wins.
Right.
So I'll take the Carolina Panthers over the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going to take that pick, too, even though Charles would get almost 200 yards running.
Well,
but I'm going to go with Cam Newton to win this one. I think he got his swagger back last week.
If Brady Quinn continues to throw the ball in the dirt, I'd like Carolina's chances. All right, I'm winning the game.
Well, all I have to do is run the ball.
That's true.
Charles left, Charles right, Charles up the middle.
And hope he gets some carries for Cyrus Gray. Shout out to Cyrus Gray if you're watching.
Yeah.
Also, the Tampa Bay Bucks travel to Denver to play your team, the Broncos. And the Bucks are a pretty hot team right now.
They're not that hot. I've got to go with the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos all the way. They will win, clinch the division this Sunday.
Think they'll win out?
Oh, they're going to win out. They're going to clinch that. The one win from winning the division. All they have to do is win Sunday. I got to go with Peyton Manning. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to beat the Patriots.
This, to me, is going to be a good game. I mean, it's going to be two teams really fighting. The Bucks, of course, are fighting to make it to the playoffs. The Broncos looking to clinch the division. But give me the Broncos. I'm riding with them to win the AFC.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm riding with them
giddy
to
up,
win the
man.
AFC. The Browns travel out west to Oakland to play the Raiders.
This is a game I hope they don't tell
The
us.
Browns. I got the Browns winning.
I'm going with the Browns. The
I have no
Raiders,
faith in Oakland. I'm sorry.
yeah, I think they would quit wearing the costumes out there.
I got no
Start
faith in
dressing.
Oakland. All right, the Cincinnati Bengals travel to San Diego to play the Chargers. Give me the Bengals here.
Yeah, I'm going with Cincinnati too. San Diego is they just exploded.
Yeah, I don't know. Of
I
course,
don't know.
no Turner's on the hot seat again.
No, Turner is gone.
Phillip Rivers on the hot seat again.
And
What
he
else
may
to do
be
this
your
time of year?
offensive coordinator next year. That's
Hey,
the
we'll
rumor I
find
heard.
out. We'll find out. And then the Steelers and the Ravens. That's the marquee game of Sunday. Of course, that's an afternoon game. Steelers need to win pretty bad.
And Big Ben may play.
He may play. I think he's really doubtful, but he doubtful that he will play at all. But of course, the Ravens are suffering injuries as well
Right.
too. Give me the Ravens here. Ravens were my pick to win the AFC before the season started. I'll take the Ravens at home to beat the Pittsburgh
I'm
Steelers.
gonna take the Ravens. Charlie Bass just not gonna get the job
No,
done.
absolutely not.
No men and all. I mean,
Absolutely not.
gotta go with
All right, Sunday night football. This always is a
Yeah.
pretty good game, but of course, both of these teams are pretty much in bad shape. That's the
Wow.
Eagles and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not mathematically out of the playoffs, but let's face it,
Mentally.
mentally they're out of the playoffs. They're at home for the
Wow.
Eagles game. Who you picking here, Royce?
You know,
It's a toss of a coin.
you know, this is a hard choice for me because both of these teams are equally bad. Which one's worse? I think Philadelphia's a little bit worse than Dallas, but they always get up for Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and the fans in Philly are not nice.
Okay. Well, they're not in Philly, they're in Dallas.
I
So
know
what's
they in
gonna happen?
Dallas, but they are playing in Dallas. Dallas can't seem to win at home for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to defend your home turf.
Well, there's
I-
no home
Philly's
field
gonna-
advantage. So.
Philly's gonna come in hyped up. It'll be a good close game. I'm gonna say that Philadelphia upsets Dallas. It's hard for me to say that being a hometown, right? But they can't defend their own house.
As a true diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, me,
Mm-hmm.
as a Jerry Jones fan, me,
Right.
I'm picking the Eagles to win.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you
Go
why.
against your
I'm
Cowboys?
tell you why because I'm not gonna pick the Cowboys to win another game
Till they win.
because I want them to lose the rest of their games so we can get some change around here.
You know,
right?
that's pretty
As
good.
a true Cowboy fan, I'm picking the Eagles to win.
No, it's not a bad idea. They
I'm
lose
just
the
so
rest of the
sorry.
game. They get to
There you
a
go.
good pick.
As a
Maybe they
true
go get a quarterback.
Cowboys fan, I'm picking the Eagles to win the game.
That's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah, that's my strategy. I'm gonna
But
try.
I just seem to think that at this point, Philadelphia is playing for pride. Well, both teams are playing for pride.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And
You got coaches playing for jobs.
Right,
you got all
absolutely,
kind of stuff.
absolutely. But
So
I think Philly just gonna come in here all hyped up and geared up, and I think they're just gonna beat Dallas. And Dallas has too many mistakes, too many turnovers. Now they may win the game, but I didn't really want to pick this because both of these teams to me are equally bad. But I think Philly's just gonna be a little bit better than Dallas.
well, while we're on the division, the game that probably would decide or go towards deciding that division is going to be the Monday Night Football game. The Giants
Big
going to DC to play the Redskins.
Right.
You know what? As a Cowboy fan, I don't like either team.
No, I
But
know you don't.
I'm an RG3 fan. I like what he's done in DC. It's hard to root against that guy, knowing that he played at Baylor, played high school football here in Texas, and now he's playing in DC. So I'm going to take the Redskins to win because I'd rather see them win the division, get into the playoffs, than the Giants.
Of course, I know you would, being a Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is gonna be the best game on for the whole.
Well, it's the
weekend.
only game on Monday night.
I'm just saying for the whole weekend. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to this game. Can't wait for Monday for this game to start. You know, this time of year the Giants really played great. I mean, they get on the road. They started last week. They're playing great. I like to see Washington win. I'm gonna go with an upset. The Redskins
Mm.
will beat the Giants, even though I think the Giants are gonna win. I just think they're gonna
Well, who
win.
are you picking? If you
I
picking
said I'm
Redskins, you
going.
say you
That's
think
it.
Giants
But
gonna
in the
win?
back of my mind, you have picks like that. In the back of my mind, I think the Giants will win, but I think it's gonna be an upset. I think Robert Griffin is gonna light him up, and he's gonna really make a name. He's gonna cinch the Rookie of the Year
Well, let's
award.
not forget when these two teams played in New York.
It was
I
close.
mean, Robert Griffin brought the team back, won the game, threw the touchdown pass to win the game,
Right.
but the defense gave up that long touchdown.
Yeah,
to
he
Victor
had
Cruz,
won that
so.
game, so the defense owe him a win.
Yeah, they do. Give that
This
long
much.
pass to Victor
That's
Cruz,
right.
and
That's right.
the
They
rest
owe
is
him a
history.
win. You know, if you get the lead, you have to protect the lead. That's why I say this is gonna be. I'm gonna go with Washington.
So take the Redskins here too. So again, guys, I want to thank everyone for sticking in with us for our show, bearing with us through the technical difficulty. Make sure you tune in on Monday morning at 9 a.m. for another edition of our show, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. Also, tune in tomorrow on the website, rfsportsradio.com, tomorrow night around 6 p.m.
To meet the newest man.
to meet the newest Mav, Derek Fisher, and also talk to the Detroit Pistons as well. We'll be doing that live from the American Airlines Center. So until then, thank you guys for tuning in.
Who you taking tomorrow? Dallas or Detroit?
I'm taking Detroit.
I'm taking Dallas.
No, I'm taking Dallas.
Derek
All right,
Fisher.
there you
Gonna
go.
be the difference.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. For Rodney and for Royce, thank you guys. Welcome to RF Sports Radio, rfsportsradio.com. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.